What is going on, guys? AJ Bodie here, back with another video. Today I just want to talk about when people say that, they enjoy the process and what that basically means. So like the video, comment, subscribe, and let's just get into it. So basically, a lot of people online are telling a lot of people how to improve their life is like to enjoy the process. The process to achieve something great is just suffering. That's basically that's the secret right there. It's just to enjoy the suffering. And I wrote a script here, kind of just telling you on why or when you start to enjoy suffering, what happens, kind of like kind of what's going on with that, and how you can enjoy suffering too and achieve greatness from suffering, and when you actually start to enjoy it, you know, I can't really. I'm gonna try and explain it right here. So when you start to enjoy suffering, suffering is something most people naturally avoid. They try to avoid suffering. Pain, failure, no loneliness, discomfort, they're all viewed as negative experiences that should be escaped as quickly as possible. However, there comes a point in life when a person can begin to appreciate suffering, not because they enjoy being hurt, but because they understand that suffering can create a moment someone starts to enjoy suffering. They understand that suffering is just it's something that needs to happen. To enjoy suffering is often the moment they realize that struggle can become a pathway to growth, right? So basically, you suffer and you hone in on that energy and you start building, and you suffer and you're okay with suffering, and instead of quitting, you keep suffering, and then you get to whatever goal you were at or you wanted to be at. A person begins to enjoy suffering when they see progress on the other side of discomfort. An athlete who pushes through exhaustion works out, leans that pain of training leads to strength and improvement. They get stronger. They can run faster. A student who struggles through difficult material discovers that frustration eventually turns into knowledge. They can actually read the book faster, or they're better at solving problems. The suffering itself does not become enjoyable. Instead, the meaning behind it changes. The person learns to value the challenge because it represents an opportunity to become better. So basically, what it's saying is, even though that you don't or even though that you don't like the suffering, you know that it's something that has to happen. You know that it's something you have to do. Um, for example, working out. Not a lot of people like working out, but you're suffering through the workouts so you can get stronger. Everyone loves muscles. If you sit there and tell me, "Oh, I don't like muscles," cope, bro. Oh, I don't I want to work out, but I don't want to get too big. Cope, bro. Just means that you don't want to get those push-ups done. Fucking what the fuck? I hate when people say that shit. Um, Suffering also builds confidence. When someone repeatedly faces difficult situations and survives them, they develop trust in themselves. They begin to think, if I handled that, I can handle the next challenge. That is absolutely 100% right. Um, Not a lot of people know that because they never try and they never experience just what they're capable of. Over time, hardship becomes less frightening because they know they are capable of overcoming it. The struggle becomes proof of their own resilience. So, have you ever just had so much anxiety, so much like anxiousness from doing not doing one thing, from thinking, oh, if I did that, I would probably die, or I would probably something really bad would happen to me, or I just couldn't live with it. Once you start getting over those kind of types of feelings by actually doing, and you're like, okay, suffering actually isn't that bad. Sure, it hurts, but it's not actually that bad. So life actually gets more enjoyable when you embrace the suffering. And again, it's really hard to explain because it's like you are embracing something that's going to hurt you. You know that. Like, for example, getting into a relationship. Nobody wants to get into a relationship right now. And the reason being is because they know they already have foresight. They already have, in hindsight, you know that you guys are just going to break up. 50% of marriages end in divorce. I think like 46% are women wanting a divorce, and then 6% are like, I don't know all the research, but basically, you're gonna get, you guys are gonna split, but and you know it's gonna be painful, but it's worth it in the end because it teaches you stuff. You're gonna suffer regardless. Um, for someone, for some people, suffering comes in the form of loneliness and emotional distance. Those with avoidant tendencies may initially experience being alone as painful, especially after losing an important relationship or connection at first. Isolation can feel like a way to protect themselves from emotional pain. Rejection or disappointment. Distance can feel safer than vulnerability because it reduces the risk of people being hurt, right? However, over time, some people begin to discover the value of solitude. Being alone gives them the opportunity to reflect. So basically, when you're alone for so long, you realize that it's actually better because your thoughts aren't being overly clouded by other people, and you actually start to like the loneliness, or not the loneliness, being alone in solitude. You're not lonely, you're alone. Opportunity, process emotions, and develop stronger sense of identity. So basically, you're processing your thoughts, you have your own opinions, and you're thinking, what would I do in this situation? Not what would Jeff do from accounting, but what would I do in this situation? Um, I'm a baker, and basically I just think all day because I'm alone all day. My role is just me and myself and I. That's it. And I just think all day, and I basically have thought, what would I do in this situation instead of other people, and that kind of made me stronger as a person, and it made me more entitled to my opinion, I guess. I'm very opinionated. Their happiness, they learn that their happiness does not have to depend on entirely on another person. The silence that once felt uncomfortable can become a place where they find peace, independence, and personal growth. This transformation shows how suffering can change a person. The loneliness that once felt like weakness can become a source of strength instead of constantly seeking distraction or validation. A person may learn to enjoy their own company. Being alone stops. Being alone stops. Hold on. Being alone stops feeling like a punishment and starts feeling like freedom. However, enjoying suffering does not mean someone should seek pain or avoid meaningful connections. Healthy suffering is a purposeful. It's purposeful. It is the discomfort of working towards something meaningful, not suffering without reason. A person can appreciate solitude while still valuing relationships, just as they can appreciate hard work while still seeking rest. Many successful people develop this mindset because they understand that comfort can limit growth. Staying comfortable often means staying the same, while improvement requires stepping into difficult situations, whether it is building a career, improving physical health, or developing emotional strength. This process usually requires sacrifice, patience, and the willingness to experience discomfort. In the end, people start to enjoy suffering. They stop seeing it as the enemy, and they begin to see it as a teacher. You know, pain can reveal strength, discipline, and determination that they might otherwise may remain hidden. The person who leans to embrace challenges gains something more valuable than comfort. The ability to grow through hardship can become stronger because of it. So basically, you need to embrace suffering. Just embrace it. Okay? The reason why you're doing this, you're not becoming insane, because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over again, knowing that nothing will change. And you're not doing that. You're literally growing towards something. You have a goal and you're gonna suffer for it. You have a deadline that you have to hit, and you're going to suffer when you're going through that deadline. You're going to go to work so you can provide for your family, or so you can make some money or invest in the stock market with that money that you earn. So you're going to suffer at your work, because there's always going to be some workplace that you don't like. And if you're one of those people that actually enjoy their jobs, kudos to you. I love that for you. But most people hate their jobs, and they're just saving $1 after the next so they can get to a better job, or so they can get to a better future, and then eventually they can retire. So that's basically how I look at it. Oh, I heard the news. Andrew Tate is in jail. That's crazy. Speaking of Andrew Tate, he literally embraces suffering, and the way I see it, he actually enjoys suffering, because he knows that suffering creates opportunity. It creates the ability to finish your goals. It creates determination to do what you need to do. It literally builds your body. Suffering can do a lot. Like it does a lot when you embrace it. So you just have to embrace that shit really fucking hard. Go full send that shit, right? And though I have not suffered all that much in my life, right? Even though that, yes, I have suffered exponentially. I have suffered so much, but at the same time, it's like, have I though? Have I really? I think, what is the worst thing that ever happened to me? I can't even remember. I can't even remember. I remember going through a lot of breakups, and that was pretty hard. But that's not even that bad. At the end of the day, it's not even that bad, because you just keep looking to the future. And also, don't keep suffering. This is the one thing that I will tell you though. Don't keep suffering for your goal if you're not hitting that. If you're not constantly moving up. If you're not actually progressively achieving what you need to achieve one by one. Take a step back for a second. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. But look at my physique really quickly. Wait, wait, hold on. How do I look? All right, all right, guys. I hope you found this video really entertaining and insightful, because I make these videos so you guys can improve your life, and you can learn from me, and you're like, oh shit, well, this guy is fucking I know, like, you're not supposed to talk negatively about yourself, but like, this guy is retarded. He doesn't know how to do a lot. He suffers a lot. He makes a lot of mistakes, but I make these mistakes, and then I tell you guys about it, and then you're like, oh, well, I don't have to make that mistake. Yes, sometimes you do have to learn from your own mistakes, but if I were to be like a father figure to you, which I know that I'm more like an older brother to you. How about that? Um, if I were to be an older brother to you, you can look at my mistakes and think to yourself, oh, I actually don't want to do that because that's dumb. And then you avoid doing some of the shit that I done, like going to a rave at 2 a.m. so you can make out with 6, 7 people. That's not a good idea. Going and getting drunk, and then like operating a vehicle, that's not a good idea. Getting into a situationship with someone that is just gonna break your heart, and you know that um you're a lover boy, you're a CLB, certified lover boy, right? Getting into getting a hearing aid or something. You have hearing loss, you're getting a hearing aid, and now you can like listen to music at a place of work that you're not supposed to listen to music at. um but of course you have hearing loss, so you have to have the hearing aid anyway, so that's a cheat code right there. Or like, you can do shit like, your back's hurting so bad, so you can get a doctor's note for work, so you can sit down, because they literally, if you work in retail or anything, they will not let you sit down unless you have a doctor's note. And you develop fucking sciatica, when when you stand for long periods of time. um dumb, I don't know, dumb shit like that. The video's over, you can click off anytime, but if you're still watching, installing like a fucking AC unit, and you live in an HOA, but your AC is broken, so you install a window AC unit, and then you put camouflage over it. So you you waterproof some brick colored white paper, and then you or printer paper, and then you put it outside, and hopefully that nobody will recognize it. The HOA won't like see it or anything. But then you realize that it literally looks like a fucking Minecraft brick block, and it's just floating there. And it's like, fuck, well, I fucked up. And then you get a letter sent in the mail, and it's like, oh, well, you can't actually do that. So it's like, fuck. Or like realizing that avoidance are really fucking tough to deal with, and like sometimes they don't come back. It's been 4 months. Maybe they do come back. Again, I will update you in about 2 months, see if they come back or not. But if they don't, I mean, it's gone. They're gone. You know, knowing that going on Tinder is only gonna hurt you more if you're trying to get a relationship from Tinder, because all those women on there are just, they're not quality women. They probably slept with a lot of men. They've been exposed to that. They're literally, listen. They're literally going on an app to find someone. The person that they find will seduce them into sleeping together, and that'll ruin them. That'll ruin the way that they perceive the world, which turns them worse. Just like how me working in a bakery for 3 years has turned me into a freak. It's turned me into someone who sees a broken process and learns that, like, it makes me really sad, which kills my ambition and stuff. Seeing or me growing up in um, a broken home that literally destroys my attachment style, or destroy. Wow, holy shit, shit is not. It's like bad stuff happening to you. Speaking of which, holy shit, my fucking rotator cuff is cooked. I do not have the muscles to support my arm like this. That's crazy, but I'm so strong at the same time. But this is a good example right here. I hurt myself. I got into a situation where I hurt my rotator cuff right here, and it's never been the same. And it's literally like, it changes you, because I cannot fucking lift my arm without pain right here. It feels like I'm about to dislocate that shit. And it gets so weak, like right here. Oh, fuck. So I need to go work on that. But yes, you can bounce back from it, but more than likely, people do not bounce back from it. They have to deal with their trauma for years, years, literally on end, years and years on end, and it's not worth it. Going through, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Going through a childhood that's not worth it. Going through a childhood that's like abusive. Your family's abusive to and it fucks your mental health, and you become a really bad person. If you don't learn from that, and you don't try and change, and you don't have that metacognition that I do, you're fucked. That's it. You're fucked. Okay, see you guys later. Bye. You're cooked. What can I say? Uh, Social security number.